Earfun Uboom. I did a review on the Tribit Maxsound Plus. I really like it. Very neutral, and given its size, quite a quality sound. People said, well, you should listen to the Earfun Uboom. It's a 360-degree speaker, unlike the front-on only drivers on the Tribit, and it uses the same drivers. Earfun apparently is a sister company to Tribit, and they are both Chinese companies. They are both made in China. Now, the point was, I really like the Tribit. The problem being for me, if you get a pair, you still can't use stereo. Party mode only, double up mode only when you get a pair of them. Now, same drivers in the Uboom, but you can do stereo pairing. So that's why it was really interesting to me. I don't listen to 360-degree speakers. I like to listen to my speakers face on. I like to get the stereo imaging if I can. Whether you can walk around it and the sound changes or not, it's not a big deal to me. You know where I'm coming from. However, I thought I'd give them a go, given that they are the same drivers. There are some differences, and there are a lot of things that are the same between the Tribit. What are the same? They're both 24-watt speakers. They both weigh just under 600 grams. As I said, they use the same drivers, two passive radiators, two 45mm full range drivers. Both rated at 7.4 volts with a 2200 milliamp hour battery. They're both IPX67 rated. Both can be immersed in water up to 1 meter, up to 30 minutes. Difference is, first of all, you got Bluetooth 5. So you clearly got more modern hardware in the Uboom. It's Bluetooth 5, but Bluetooth 4.2 in the Tribit. As I said, no wireless pairing in Tribit Maxsound. True wireless stereo pairing with the Ubooms. USB-C charging to USB-C connection with the Earfun Uboom. Not a massive step up in actual charging rate, so 7.5 watts charging on the Tribit, 10 watts on the Uboom. Of course, the biggest difference is we have a 360-degree speaker. That means you're going to have options of how you orientate the speaker. The speakers are firing that way. So if you've got the Earfun logo forward, I'm calling that front on. So later on, when you hear me talk about front on, that's with the Earfun logo facing you. Drivers are on the sides, firing at a 90-degree angle to being face on. I talk about side on, it's directly in front of one pair of drivers with the other pair firing backwards. Now, you had X-Bass on the Tribit, which basically means if you don't have X-Bass on, you've got a bass cut. On the Uboom, you've got indoor mode and outdoor mode. It's really cryptic the way they have described that. What it basically means is indoor is your bass boost mode, outdoor is your balance, well, I would say more neutral but slightly bright mode. Just to give you an overview exactly what we're talking about in terms of outdoor versus indoor, what that looks like on a frequency response graph and how it changes with volume. This is how I measured it. The indoor mode, which is actually the bass heavy mode, you got the volume scale, not a lot changing. It's very bass heavy, so bass heavy that you can't actually measure it within plus or minus 3 decibels. Doing the frequency response, you're looking at plus or minus 6 decibels. If I take that range, you're measuring about 56 hertz to the 20 kilohertz, but with big dips. So very bass heavy. Big dips between the peaks at 80 hertz and 10,000 hertz. The bass is actually rolling off from around 70 hertz. But in terms of the dips in the mids, if you're matching that, you're down to around just over 50. But that's because you can't measure it within the range plus or minus 3 decibels. When you go to 67 and then 73%, you're topping out on the bass. So you can see it's basically the same bass, 67, 73. And from there on in, the high peak compared to the low peak just keeps getting brighter. By maximum, bass is pretty rolled off compared to the rest of the frequency range. So-called outdoor mode, which is actually the flattest frequency response, but it is on the bright side. So there's nothing really neutral. You've either got bass heavy or quite bright. Again, the bass is topping out around 73%, 67%. The frequency response is flatter than the indoor mode. You can measure it plus or minus 4.5 decibels, but still outside the plus or minus 3 decibel range. It's about 60 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I mean, it's still impressive that it does extend into the very high end. and then the bass is peaking and you're getting a much brighter sound all the way out to maximum volume. 33% indoor, the bass heavy mode. The bright mode, 33%. Big difference in the sound when very bass heavy. In comparison, reasonably flat, but certainly on the bright side. Indoor 67%, outdoor 67%. So they're nearing their bass peaks. You still got the difference between bass heavy and a little bit bright. At maximum, they're pretty similar. Bass is topped out. Do get a bit more of a bass peak on the indoor mode, just under 87 decibels on the way I've measured this one, compared to about a decibel lower for the outdoor mode in terms of the bass. And true to its nature, of course, it's brighter because it's just under 99 decibels compared to just under 96 decibels at the 10,000 hertz mark. I'm measuring these side on, directly in front of the speaker. You have the option of turning the speaker, of course. So indoor 67%, outdoor 67%, but you could have it face on, which would be 90 degrees. You can have it in between face on and left and right stereo. The effect of that would be to tame that high end. Not much you can do on the bass heavy mode, but you can tame the outdoor mode. And as you can see, face on, there's a big drop in the high end. But at 45 degrees, it's quite a flat signature. So if you only got one speaker and you want the flattest response, slant it at 45 degrees. So it's not quite face on and it's not quite left and right stereo. You're measuring about 65 hertz to about 18,000 hertz. But within the plus or minus 3 decibels, it then becomes quite a flat sounding signature. So obviously to me, the outdoor mode is the balance mode. It's a bit bright for me. It's a bit sharp for my ears. But you tame that simply by turning the speaker, depending on, where you're standing and where you're listening from. So what does that actually sound like in reality? They talk about indoor and outdoor in terms of outdoor being loudest and indoor not being as loud. And that's where the confusion is, because normally someone says this mode is the bass boost mode. You think that mode goes louder. It's louder in the bass, but because they can put more power into the high end, overall, if you measure it, how much power is coming out, what is the actual decibel loudness, outdoor mode, which is more slanted to the higher frequencies, is louder. But indoor mode is the bass boost mode. My preferred listening is the more balanced mode, which is the outdoor mode. And if I listen at about 45 degrees, it tames that high end and it's pretty balanced. Now, I'm talking about indoor, outdoor, turning and not turning. A quick listen to all of those modes at front on, side on, all the different ways you can listen.
Just need to chase my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
So my main reason that they were interesting to me is true wireless stereo pairing, which I can't get with the Tribit. And I was so impressed with, you know, the neutral sound of the Tribit, what it can do given its size. I'm not saying it's some grand scale speaker and it's defying the laws of physics, but it is a nice package, it's a nice size, it's a decent listen, even if you want to listen a little bit critically. So to get a chance of pairing those same drivers in stereo was interesting to me, even though it's 360 degree and I have no real use of 360 degree speakers. I like to listen face on and immerse myself in it, a stereo image. I will say straight off the bat, I have found the stereo pairing a bit flaky. First of all, once you've set them up and you've got one of them in master, and by the way, it's a matter of holding your Bluetooth button down, which is the one opposite the indoor-outdoor mode button. Hold them down on both speakers for 5 seconds, it goes into stereo mode. Now, once I had set that up with the master, speaker that wasn't the master, if I turned that on its own, isn't and wasn't connecting. So for me at the moment, once I have set one as master, I can only get the master to actually connect straight off the bat. Otherwise I physically have to go into my Bluetooth settings and tell it to connect to the other speaker. Also, it doesn't always remember that it's a stereo pair. So I turn them both on and more often than not, I have to still go in and do the pairing. So for me, others are saying it's you know, no flakiness at all. It's working perfect straight off the bat. For me, it is a bit flaky. Just like with my Soundcore Motion Pluses, a pair of them are working absolutely beautifully in stereo and wireless lock mode. Other people saying they got issues. So I don't know if it's all about quality control with these speakers or not. I can only tell you my own personal experiences, and other people are saying it's working fine for them. So you've got a pair. How does it compare to a single, you know, side on, a single front on, so you're getting a stereo spread? How does that compare to a pair of them actually in stereo mode?
Silence fades into the night. Coyotes sing at the moonlight. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Feel the wind touch our face. Let's take a spin to a foreign place. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape. Let's escape. Let's escape. Let's escape.
The same drivers, the Tribit, the Uboom, going to sound the same, aren't they? Although having said that, we've already got 2 modes on the Tribit, we've got 2 modes on the Uboom, so could they possibly sound the same? I will say, before you have a listen, the Tribit plays louder. To balance the loudness, I'm playing the Tribit at 60%, I'm playing the Ubooms at 67%, but then I'm keeping everything relative.
You hurt me, you did, several times. It hurts to admit that we're no different. I find it hard to commit, but you don't even try. Still I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell. charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. I don't need no. We run in the still every time. Whatever it is, I keep on trying. 'Cause it ain't hard to forgive when you know what it's like. That's why I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here or you're out there. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. I don't need no.
Indoor, outdoor, the Tribit. The problem for the indoor mode is the big dip between 120, 280 hertz, not there on the outdoor, not there on the Tribit. Does make it sound a bit more bass heavy. I guess that's the reason. In the outdoor, a lot more body, more balanced to my ear. The outdoor, the Tribit, more balanced again. In terms of actual bass, the indoor mode being overly bass heavy for me, minus 17.6. That's 3 decibels louder in the bass than the outdoor mode. Tribit 19, something in between the two. So more bass than the outdoor, less bass than the indoor, but clearer and more balanced overall to my ears. What does that look like on frequency response chart? As you can see, Tribit, the red line, far flatter than the other two responses for the indoor and the outdoor mode on the Uboom. Way bass heavy. The indoor mode, the black line, with that big dip then, 120 to about 280 compared to both the Tribit and the outdoor mode. The Uboom a bit sharp in my ears when it's face on. Of course you can turn it so it's off axis, but the Tribit, although balanced all the way up to 20 kHz, not quite as sharp at the high end. Easier on my ears at the high end, the Tribit. So, the closest mode to the Tribit is the outdoor mode, because it's the more neutral mode. However, it still can't match, for my ears and my measurements, to be honest, the actual tuning on the Tribit itself. There is more upper bass, around 120 Hz on the Tribit. It sounds more neutral, it just sounds more right, where there's a lot not quite right with the sound of the Uboom. There are dips and peaks, and obviously a lot of it is to do with the drivers, how they're firing at opposite sides to each other, whereas you've got all the drivers apart from one passive radiator directly on you with the Tribit. So it's never going to be easy to match the sound. However, the tuning is clearly different to me, and the Tribit is the more neutral, just sounds better to me. There's more going on, I can hear more detail. I'm not hearing bits missing, whereas when I'm listening to this I'm thinking, oh, there's a bit missing there. In terms of the frequency range, it may not matter to you. You may just use it in indoor mode, in bass mode, and you'll be very happy with it because you're moving all about the room and you don't really want to listen to a stereo image, and as long as it's playing, kind of the same all around, you may be happy. Just telling you the angle that I'm coming in at this review from. So for me, one-on-one, it's a win for the Tribit. So I've got a pair, and the other thing people are saying, well, then I could probably get a pair of these. I've got to say, depending on where you are in the world, all these speakers vary a lot in price. Some countries like the UK is bargaining the Soundcore Motion Plus, and other countries you're paying well over the odds, apparently more than the Extreme 2. So I can only speak from the UK, where a couple of Ubooms is about the same as a single Soundcore Motion Plus, and people are saying, well, I wonder, 2 Ubooms then, you know, and you've got, you can separate them, because they always have the advantage in how far you can separate the speakers for an immersive stereo imaging, whereas when they need one single speaker, you know, it's going to be a bit off. However, comparing a single Soundcore Motion Plus with a pair of Ubooms on paper should do quite well. 30 watts the Soundcore Motion Plus, 2 times 24 watts for the Uboom, 48 watts total power there. How does it sound? I do have to point out, again, the Soundcore plays even louder than the Tribit, and so even against 2 of the Ubooms, to loudness match them, 50% I'm playing on the Soundcore Motion Plus, 67% volume I'm playing on the Ubooms. There is a big difference, even against 2, how loud the Soundcore goes versus the Uboom.
When it hurts like this, we climb the greatest heights, jump down and have a fight, and that's all we'll ever like, but that can never change my mind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. When it hurts like this, never like, never like, never like, never like, never like, never like. When it hurts like this, never like, never like, never like, when it hurts like this, we hold each other high, but we fall 1,000 times. But I'd never say goodbye or ever leave this stuff behind. When it's
2 Ubooms in stereo, 67% volume, which matches 1 Soundcore Motion at 53% volume. The takeaway for me, more upper bass in the Soundcore Motion Plus. Do remember this is my custom settings. Less upper bass in a pair of Ubooms. But the bass peak itself is about the same. Minus 24.6 Uboom, minus 24.1 the Soundcore Motion Plus. So slightly louder, half a decibel for the Motion Plus, although it's playing 14% quieter. And it has a deeper bass. If I take 50 Hz mark, minus 39, minus 45. It's a more rounded, deeper bass on the Motion Plus. It's also a flatter sound. You don't have the peaks and dips you're getting with 1 or 2 Ubooms. I'm going to say, it's pretty much, for me, and my ears, my listening, 1 Motion Plus, it does wipe the floor, even with a pair of Ubooms. For me, you may be different, and the fact that you can have these speakers wide apart and it's still 360 and all that, the way you listen and the room you listen into, the difference may be enough that for you, it'll be the other way around. The Ubooms will smash a single Soundcore and you'll be better off buying a couple of Ubooms. You need to understand where you're coming from and how you're going to use it when you compare them. But for me, in terms of just sitting in a chair and, you know, spacing them apart and then having just 1 Motion Plus in front of me and listening to that, the Soundcore Motion Plus is way, way better. It's more fun. There's more there. There's just something not quite right for me. My listening with the Ubooms, there's a lot missing from the sound that I'm getting from the Tribit and the Soundcore, and the Soundcore just goes so much louder. So I'm going to push them all now to maximum so you can really see the differences between each of the speakers. I'm going to say, I'm just going to compare outdoor mode, as that's the loudest mode. It's also the more balanced mode. Beware, it's going to be a bit quieter if you use indoor mode, but you're going to get a bit more bass. So maximum. So pretty straightforward. Soundcore Motion Plus, by far the loudest. On average, 5.8 decibels louder than the Tribit, which was the next loudest. In terms of peak, Soundcore Motion Plus over 7 decibels louder than the Tribit, and even about the same in terms of how much louder it goes than a pair of Ubooms. So the point here is, when you play the Ubooms, it's a 360-degree speaker. 2 drivers firing forward, 2 drivers firing backwards, depending on how you orientate it. The loudest way being 2 drivers facing you, 2 drivers directly to the rear of it. Outdoor mode being the loudest mode, but you will always have 2 drivers firing away from you. With the Tribit, even though they're the same drivers, all the drivers except one passive radiator are firing towards you. And I think the Tribit with its tuning is naturally louder anyway than the Uboom. So Soundcore Motion Plus, way louder than all the others, followed by the Tribit, followed by a pair, obviously, of the Ubooms. And outdoor mode being louder than the indoor mode by a decibel on average, although the peak's about the same. Obviously, indoor mode having more bass than the outdoor mode, but the Soundcore Motion Plus, even in the bass, about 4.5 decibels louder at 75 Hertz, even than a pair of Ubooms in the bass. So for me, the winner still is the Motion Plus. If I had to choose between a couple of those, even a couple of those, well, I don't know because I haven't got a couple of those, but if I had to choose a single Tribit, a single Soundcore, a pair of Ubooms, I'm still going to go for the Motion Plus. To me, it's just a nicer listen. It's much louder, there's more bass, it's more customizable. Don't forget, there's no app for either the Uboom or the Tribit. There's not much you can do, which you get a lot of options to customize the Soundcore. Even if you don't like my own settings, we'll point out, which you may have seen if you look closely at my custom settings on that screen. When I go to maximum volume, I am reducing the bass. It can't quite handle my plus 6 dB that I put in the EQ for the bass. So I do bring that down at maximum. But for most of the time, I'm not at maximum and I'm playing the plus 6 dB on the bass. But yeah, look, it's still a lot of fun, the Uboom. But to me, sounds less of a serious speaker than the Tribit or the Motion Plus. I would even go as far as to say I'm a bit disappointed in Ubooms, given what people were telling me. Given that people were saying it sounds great, some people were saying it sounds better than the Tribit. In indoor mode, you've got more bass. And that's my point, is it depends where you're coming from, what you want to hear from it. From my own point of view, for my tastes and liking a bit of clarity, I'm preferring the Tribit. I'm disappointed a bit in the Uboom, just probably because of what my expectations was, given what I was being told. But still, the Soundcore is probably my go-to, along with a couple of others, including my XP40 still. So that's my review of the Uboom. That's my comparisons that people are asking me to do, although there are other speakers. I know I don't get much time. I'll do what I can. I hope you got something out of the video, and thank you for watching. The Earfun Uboom. Why have I got the Uboom? Well, I got the Tribit, or Tribit. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. The Tribit, I'm going to say Tribit. I'm going to say got the Earfun Uboom. I got 2 of them, so I can use them in stereo. There's noise coming in the background. The Earfun Uboom. I got 2 of them. I got a stereo pair. The Earfun Uboom. Why have I got the Earfun Uboom? So I did a review on the Tribit Maxsound Plus. I really like this Master Binder.
UK